Of the Central Bank of Nigeria has unanimously voted to take a hold stance on all key policy parameters. How much impact will this have on the fixed income market? Well, Chuka Nwachukwu, head of ALM and balance sheet management, Atube, joins me now for more on this discussion here in the studio. Thanks a lot for joining us on the show today, Chuka. Now, let's have a first reaction to the MPC's decision to hold rates at this moment. We've heard from the CBN governor talking about excitement or optimism around the flow of foreign direct and portfolio investment on the back of stronger investor confidence, and also looking at the fact that we've had the rebased CPI data come through, and these are convincing numbers.
Yeah, so thank you very much, David. So it wasn't a surprise to me personally that the CBN voted to hold, though I thought probably they would have tinkered with some other parameters, but then the
yes,
NPR,
a whole lot of focus was on the asymmetric corridor, when I would see adjustments there.
Absolutely, yeah. But I mean, holding is, for me, is the right decision to make.
Yeah.
Being that the year is just starting, and then of course there are some things that has happened, especially the rebasing. I think it's important that CBN watch to see market reaction to it, and so I think that the market actually, to some extent, has priced it in that CBN is going to hold, monetary policy, and going into the outcome and the effect on the fixed income market.
Yes.
Really, actually, the fixed income market from the announcement on the rebasing has actually reacted. Yesterday, NTB auction, we saw it played out. Rate drop well over 200 basis points. The last auction was around 20 levels, and then this came out at 18.43 levels. And so market has actually reacted to the rebasing, not to the MPC pronouncement, because to some extent it's been pricing.
Yes, definitely. But talking about the signaling at this moment now, on face value, we're seeing the real rates now been positive. But would you say value has really now been restored to the financial markets and the assets we have here?
I think that one of the major credit I'll give to this current CBN, led by Mr. Kodeso, is the fact that they've been consistent. He's been he's set up from day one on price discovery. And price stability.
Yes. Yeah,
and you can see that he has maintained that, and that is very good for every economy. Most investors want to be sure of the direction of the government, especially with the CBN policy. And so he's been talking about inflation, driving inflation. He's talking about price stability, and that, for me, is one of the major.
And that was one of the resounding themes we were having in our special broadcast earlier during the MPC briefing as well. Now, so many of the analysts here, Bismarck and a couple of others were here, and it's saying now the road of travel is clear, and that's definitely what you're alluding to at this moment. But in terms of how we might also see things move even further, let's narrow down into the banking sector, liquidity, for example. We had talks around the recapitalization exercise. That's on one hand. But at this moment, the big elephant in the room is around liquidity constraints at this time, and how this is also driving markets in the fixed income.
Exactly.
How do you see things going forward near term?
So the liquidity, like you said, has been a major concern. On Monday, market was in debit of over 800 billion, though respite came yesterday with the NTB maturity about today actually with 1.1 trillion, and then tomorrow there will be about 300 billion in place of coupon, and that will really ease the pressure on market. But by and large, liquidity have been very tight, and that has played out in the fixed income market.
Yes.
Don't forget that whatever happened in the liquidity market affects the fixed income market directly or indirectly. So when the market is really liquid, you see that there will be bullish run, in fixed income market.
Yes.
Or when market is not liquid, you see people, trying to sell down in order to generate liquidity. And so that has actually affected liquidity. And then on the fact side as well, you see that first of all, government increased the appropriation bill to I think about 54 trillion. Yet telling you that they are already generating more revenue, and so there's more to share. So we've seen increase in the FAC allocation, from 700 billion to 1.9 trillion. So that again, is as a direct, directly as it is a direct impact of the CBN policy and then what the government is looking to do going forward.
And talking about the CBN's policy and the effectiveness at this moment now, we're still weighing the metrics, but it looks good at this point in time. We're also seeing that convergence where we're looking at the FX space now. You take, for example, the parallel market and then the official window. It relatively seems like the pressure points are easing at this moment. But when we look ahead, how stable do you see the Naira going forward against the greenback? There are also conversations around whether or not we'll see the US dollar weaken near term on the back of some of the moves we've seen from the Trump administration.
So one of the things that that the CBN governor has done is, convergence, right? Before now we had this, huge disparity between the interbank market and the BDC market, and so that's already has been sorted out. So you can see that there's really no more difference between the official market and the interbank market, and so that also is a pointer to the fact that some of the policies that have been put in place is working, and going into second quarter and into the rest of the year, I expect to see stability, in the FX market, especially when...
Give me a range now.
So it's difficult, but I expect to see between 1,300 to 1,500. It's currently trading. In fact, today market has actually dropped. I think it's dropped by almost 70 basis points. So that's a good, indication. And I think that, we also should appreciate the fact that most of the policies that have been implemented or is being introduced by the CBN governor has to do with, trying to get the physical side to go hand in hand with the monetary side. Because for our FX issues, for example, it's not going to be, sorted out only on the monetary aspect.
side of things.
For me, it's about more of a 85% physical side.
Complementarity is the word.
Absolutely,
here. Yes, we'll have to leave the conversation here for now, but Chuka, just give me now a number. Looking at the May MPC meeting, some have said maybe a 25 basis cut might likely happen at the next meeting. Your take?
Yeah, I share that same optimism. Yeah, I share it. And I think that the next MPC meeting, the worst is to keep rate, but I think they're going to cut rates.
We'll keep our fingers crossed to see how things pan out. That is Chuka Nwachukwu, head of ALM and balance sheet management at UBA. Well, for more on the MPC decision, analysts believe the